All right, let's get the show on the road. So, I just wanted to make a real quick video showing how this system works with our rig, how our automated lip sync engine works with our rig. I'm just going to start this over because I did 1 or 2 test runs to make sure everything was working. But I want to start this from sort of the neutral place. All right, here we go. So you'll see that the timeline ends at about 300 frames. This guy's got an alignment file that I don't want to use. Step 1, by the way, would be to create your alignment file, which you do in our external app. And it's really simple to use. You load up your WAV file, you load up your script, you just throw that script into the text entry, and then tap align in our interface, and then you export the alignment file, which you'll see is this guy right here, the .align file. And let's select and open a new alignment file just to do something. I'm going to grab a real long one. I kind of feel like longer files are maybe harder to get to work properly. And so this is a pretty long one, and it's working just fine. Our systems handles really long files really pretty well. And the other thing I need to do is I need to load up my audio file. Now you can actually do this in just the regular Max interface, but for ease of use I've got it just quickly set up here. So right now my speech is gone. The emotion targets are still working, but the speech is gone. And it's just a carryover from the previous animation that was on here. And what's great about this is, well, great and not great. You got to be careful because this is going to overwrite the existing animation that you have as you go through this script. So far it's overwritten the speech, and if we hit engage right here, that's going to put the speech from my UN alignment file on here. Let me show you that file, by the way, because I've got a couple of tags that put some sort of emotion in. So there's happy. Happy starts right off at the beginning, and there's anger, turn off anger, which is the same as going to neutral, surprise, and then happy again, and that should be it. And that's not active yet. Right now all you're going to see is the speech and the head and emotion system from the previous, or the head and emotion animation from the previous alignment file, because these are separated. So let's just go ahead and put the emotion and look animation on here as well. And then right off the bat you see that she's going to become happy, or he, or the character is genderless, so they, I guess at this point, they go from neutral to happy straight off the bat. The very first Vizim is gonna align the happy to it.
Recognition of the inherent dignity.
Let me just play it once.
Whereas recognition of the inherent dignity and of the equal and inalienable rights of all members of the human
anger
family
and turned off anger,
is
and
the
then back to
foundation
neutral.
of freedom, justice, and peace in the world.
There was a moment of surprise in there too. Where was it?
It is the foundation of freedom.
There it is. There's surprise. I mean, obviously that looks super surprised. So the emotion system works really well. And those tags in there were just tags that I was using to test that the emotion system worked. I have files that do that a lot more cohesively, but as for the purposes of this demonstration, you're just seeing how it works if you kind of just throw random emotions in. Anyway, so the speech is all working, but we haven't applied chatter smoothing or what I'm calling predictive width optimization. And so let's just go ahead and do that. I'm going to make an S-curve here. What this S-curve does, or what this curve does, is it measures the speed of the jaw, and the higher the speed is, the closer it is to this end of the curve. The lower the speed is, the closer it is to this end of the curve. And if the speed passes a certain threshold, sort of as defined by this curve, then it will begin to smooth the speed of the jaw out. and it will take that movement out of the jaw and it will put it into this other controller I've got right here, this guy, which just opens and closes the lips. So the jaw doesn't feel sort of really muppety and unnatural as the character speaks. So let's just go ahead and apply the chatter smoothing, and you're going to notice
dignity and of the equal and inalienable.
So inalienable right here is probably chatter smooth right in there. You'll see the character's jaw doesn't come down for inalienable. It doesn't chatter up and down for inalienable, but the lips still move a little bit. And that's exactly what chatter smoothing is supposed to do. Makes it just feel a lot more natural as the character speaks. And next we have apply predictive width optimization. You got to wait till the autosave is done. And then, so let's do this. This one runs in iterations. So my default sort of go-to number of iterations is 3, and that will keep the character speaking, the character's visual speech not look floaty or sort of weirdly ethereal, but it'll also start to really attack those narrow and wide visemes earlier, right before the character gets to that point, which is a natural and normal way for humans to move their lips during speech. So just use my default settings, and you're going to see...
Whereas recognition of the inherent dignity and of the equal...
You'll see the equal, the Q noise, or the Q width change starts to happen just a little bit before the Q sound happens. Again, just making the lips feel a lot more natural during speech.
Equal and inalienable rights.
The other thing you'll notice, by the way, is the character's emotional sort of engagement doesn't break the speech. So the character is happy. You can see that smile, but then the qu happens while the character is happy, and it doesn't. All right, these happiness morphs don't sort of override or overtake the Q sound, the qu sound. So it looks really natural even through the speech. You'll see the upper lip is kind of raised a little bit, does the B sound, inalienable, and it disengages the pull from that upper lip for just that moment, so that you don't have a B sound where the lips don't meet. So those two systems, I should say those 3 systems, the emotion system works really well with the visible speech, and chatter smoothing and predictive width optimization just improve the visible speech quite a bit. It makes everything feel and look a lot more natural. And the last thing we have is this sticky lips system. And so this lip stickiness, you can turn this up or down, and it'll determine how sticky the lips are. Right, there's this sort of perfect zone of stickiness for when they are the stickiest, right between when they have maybe too much, too recently sort of wetted your lips. They won't stick together at all. The wetness doesn't stick them together. Versus when they are totally dry, they don't stick together at all. But there's this tackiness in that in-between time between being too wet and too dry to stick, and sort of I shot for just a little bit less sticky than the stickiest they could be with that lip stickiness. And so you'll be able to see how that happens. That, by the way, this just controls this stickiness controller. Let me drop the jaw real quick. Open the lips, drop the jaw. Here we go. So it just sticks those lips right back together based on the position of this, and you can soften that fall off by moving this guy up and down. It's going to change how broadly they stick together. This is effectively just one vertice at a time at the very bottom, and it's this at the very top is all of them at once, just the entire set, and it just falls off between there. And I'll put it back to neutral, which is where it has to be for that curve to still make sense. And let's play it through again. Let's play it through again after I put these guys back to neutral. Okay.
Whereas recognition of the inherent dignity and of the equal and inalienable rights of all members of the human family is the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace in the world.
All right, and a couple of places where you're going to notice that it really improved, that sticky lips system really improved, is for the narrow shapes, right? You start to put your lips together, it's going to start to compress everything together. Let me put this on wireframe so you can see a little bit more clearly. You can see them come together, and then they just separate very gently as they open and widen.
Rights of all members of the human family.
So everything in there is working really well. Sticky lip system is literally just a button. I mean, you can animate it however you want, but it works as just a apply sticky lips. If you feel like using the apply sticky lips, you don't have to do any actual work, and then you got sticky lips all simulated in there and everything. And the very last part of the script that I'm going to run, this one will just randomize the character's shape. And what's kind of beautiful about this, it's really randomizing quite a bit, so it's changing the shape very to an extreme, and that's what this scaler does. You can scale it back down towards the neutral position, and then you can go through here, randomize other different parts. This is just the general head shape, so let's scale this guy maybe. Forehead's fine, I guess, for now. Let's randomize the eye shape. Sure, let's go with that. I'm not even going to scale it down. And it's scaling, by the way, from its current position to its neutral position. That's what's scaling. It's not scaling up or down the size of the object. It scales the difference from neutral. That's what that scaler does. Let's randomize some cheekbones. Those are fun cheekbones. And we can just neutralize them if we want, or we can randomize them again. There we go. And let's randomize the nose a couple times. And when you get a nose that you think looks like a nice version, I should say a caricatured version of what you had sort of intended, then again, that's when you use that scaler. So let me get this out of the way so I can see my little alignment box there. So maybe that's like a heavily worked on nose in terms of plastic surgery. So let's move on to the lips. And if we're going to go the plastic surgery route, then maybe we should get one that's like really full. Yeah, let's do that. There are controllers for all of these. They are on display in other videos. I'm not going to really touch on that right now. But if you really liked everything about it except for one or two elements, then you could go in and grab your shape controls, which are having a moment with Max's shaders right now. You can go in here and you can do whatever changes you want to them. But again, I'm not trying to really make this a whole full demo about the whole full face. This is really just about the scripts here. So John Chin, I'm just going to say that I like those. Maybe scale them. Oh, you know what? I like them because they're so close to the neutral. Let's do randomize it. Yeah, that's a rather nice extreme. And so you can randomize the ears. Right now the ears just randomize their position, orientation, and scale. So there are other controllers in there. Again, this is sort of a little bit of a beta. Some of this is not quite done, but this all works. Now here's what's great about this. You've done all of these changes, especially to the lips and the eyes. The lips and the eyes are still going to work, right? You're still going to have blinks. By the way, the blinks are sort of automatic. They are set to... there's a number of rules that animators use for when a character blinks, and those rules are all sort of scripted out so that they all work and make sense for when the character, looks from one direction to the other. You can also add a blink in that sort of tagging system that I've got. But it also just measures the time between blinks, right? If you don't want the character to just be steely-eyed, staring straight forward the whole time, then the blink system will take care of that for you. It'll put blinks in at appropriately distanced times so that it looks natural. And no matter what you do to the eyes, the blinks always work, right? You're going to see that blink make contact with the lower eyelid every time, regardless of the eye shape. The lips are going to make contact with the B shapes and the M shapes every time. The Fs are going to hit those teeth every time. Here's that B right here. The B is going to hit every time. Everything always works. That's the beauty of this, is that no matter what you do to this face, no matter how you change the rig, as long as you're using the tools that were built in, everything will always work. And you can even add morph targets, right? Let's say that you have something that's very nearly the character that you want. You can build your own morph target for that character, and as long as you follow a couple of real simple rules and adhere to the structural standards of the rig, then it'll work every time. You can do whatever you want with this rig. It is fully customizable. It's really a robust system. I'm kind of amazed that it works as well as it does, actually. I didn't think it was going to work when I started it as well as it does. But that's the gist. Let's just go and bring this, neutralize the whole head, bring it back to neutral. No matter what you do, everything always works. The visible speech is really excellent. The emotion system is extremely expressive, seems really sincere, and everything just always works. That's the beauty of it. At least in terms of the rig. I've still got to work through some bugs with the script, but this rig is really solid. So that's it. I appreciate you kind of sticking with me to the end here, and next time I do a demo, I hope to see you guys again. Thanks for sticking around.